So, ladies and gentlemen, why is it that so much sewage is dumped into the rivers of North America? Why is it that the St. Lawrence River is nothing more than a giant open sewer? And why is it that the Rio Grande River in Mexico, along the U.S.-Mexican border, why is it that the Rio Grande River is a giant open sewer? Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you take some time and you do some actual research, you'll discover that New York Harbor, the death capital, they've got more death and more infections than anywhere else in the world, apparently. The death capital of the planet Earth. Why is it that New York Harbor is such a giant open sewer with huge amounts of sewage coming out of Manhattan and out of New Rochelle and off of Long Island? What is it about the Hudson River, the recipient of vast amounts of sewage from upstate, from Corinth, from Glens Falls, Fort Edward, Hudson Falls? Why is it that the Hudson River has so much sewage and PCBs? Let's not forget the PCBs. But why is it that the Hudson River is a giant open sewer for industrial waste and chemicals, toxins of all kinds, and then, of course, vast, massive amounts of sewage? Same thing with the Anacostia River in Washington, D.C., the Chesapeake Bay. The Susquehanna River Basin is a giant open sewer, just like the Cape Fear River Basin and the Neuse River Basin in North Carolina. Why is it, Judge Richard E. Myers, that the Chicago River, the New River, gets sewage? They use the New River to dilute pollution. In West Virginia, why is it that the river systems across the United States, like San Francisco Bay, like Tampa Bay, like Galveston Bay, why is it that the San Jacinto River and the Houston Ship Channel is nothing more than a giant sewer? Now, I'm not trying to, pick on anybody here, but do you know what it's like to die from COVID-19 or SARS or Legionellas or influenza or polio or all the other viruses that are being dumped into these rivers? What's it like to die, Andy Cuomo? Is it like dying of a massively overwhelming, intense flu where you're sicker than a dog for about 10 days or so, and you struggle and grasp for your last breaths, and you drown in pneumonia in your lungs? Is it being tortured to death, Andy Cuomo? Is that how you die? Is that how COVID-19 patients go out? They can't breathe. Their lungs have filled up with mucus and fluids. I mean, they died, right? Oh, who cares? They died. Right, Andy Cuomo? You know what I think a fitting punishment would be for Andy Cuomo? Yeah, let your imaginations run wild with that one. So to Judge Richard E. Myers and the federal courts in Wilmington, North Carolina, where I'm fighting this case, exposing the fact that America's great big huge open sewer. It's why North Carolina's got a massive COVID problem. It's why areas in the southeastern United States, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, all over the eastern seaboard of the United States, Texas, giant, massive COVID-19 deaths and infections. And what viruses are they cooking up for the future? What's the next pandemic, Joe Biden? And I'm laying this one right at the feet of old Donald Trump, because Donald Trump appointed Judge Richard E. Myers, and Judge Richard E. Myers is from the Bahamas. He used to be a newspaper reporter. He UNC Law School, Chapel Hill. And I'm kind of wondering, Judge Myers, why is it that North Carolina is such an open sewer? The Cape Fear River that runs right down there by your courthouse is full of sewage and chemicals and toxins. Ask Mark Ruffalo and watch the film Dark Waters. Why does Wilmington, North Carolina have such dark waters, Judge Richard E. Myers? And Cuomo and Biden and Pelosi and Bernie Sanders and Patrick Leahy, you know, the Lake Champlain septic tank. Let's talk about the Lake Champlain septic tank, and I want to close this video out with this. If, in fact, there was an implementation of the Georgia Guidestones and, you know, a few billion people from Earth were killed off, how would you do it? How would you do it, Richard Myers? Would you poison the waterways with sewage and viruses and bacteria? Is that how we're implementing Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2050 to reduce the world's population by getting rid of millions of people? These pandemics, boy, they sure do sound like they belong right along there with the eugenics programs that are desired by the people that want to reduce the Earth's population by, what, 2/3? Judge Richard E. Myers? What the hell is going on here? And what's the exposure to the government and to their insurance companies and to all these corporate, private-owned sewage treatment centers where they don't really kind of, sort of, maybe possibly treat the sewage and then dump it into the Cape Fear River Basin or the Hudson River Basin or the Great Lakes Basin or the St. Lawrence Seaway? You ought to see the sewage that the Canadians are dumping into the St. Lawrence. And the New Yorkers are dumping into Lake Erie and the St. Lawrence. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on, folks. From Lake Champlain to the Potomac River, to the Chesapeake Bay, to the Susquehanna, to the San Francisco Bay, Tampa Bay. Oh, God, the Puget Sound. Look at the sewage being dumped in Puget Sound. And the toxins and all the other bacterias. And oh my God almighty, what is going on, Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump, you didn't do nothing about any of this. And Joe Biden, what are you doing about it? And Barack Obama and George Bush and Dick Cheney and the Clintons, what in the flying hell is America drowning in such toxic, deadly pollution? And Elise Stefanik, why are the dams being used to flush it? The Moses Sanders Dam on the St. Lawrence River is nothing more than a giant toilet flusher. Exactly like the toilet flusher in Ticonderoga, New York, called Dam A, Dam 230, that's used to flush Lake George, the sewage from Lake George and the Lachute River, and dump it over to Lake Champlain. It's the exact, identical, precise same. It's the same scenario. Exact same scenario. There's Dam 230, Basil Sagos. Now, I don't know about what people who watch this video might think, but I know one thing for certain. YouTube's monitoring my videos. And where's Facebook's fact checkers? Why aren't Facebook fact checkers, saying that my videos are full of shit? There's a good clue for you right there. So Judge Richard E. Myers, this old pro se hillbilly from upstate New York, the Adirondacks, I'm going to fight this case, and I'm going to fight it all the way. Because a lot of little kids and a lot of grannies and grandpas and, aunties and sisters and brothers, children, a lot of children and pregnant moms, they're being killed by all this crap being dumped in North Carolina's rivers, and in New York's rivers, and Florida's rivers, and California's rivers, and Illinois' rivers, and Indiana's rivers, and Ohio's rivers, and Massachusetts rivers, and in Maine's rivers, in Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and Virginia. I go all day long, from Ohio to Washington State and Oregon, Texas, Mexico, China, Judge Richard E. Myers. Why does China have such a massive sewage problem, Judge Richard E. Myers? Folks, I'm going to leave it right there. And as always, stay tuned because we're coming back.